Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Vanguard box set for the Fyreslayers and see how we can use it to start a brand new army of Fyreslayers for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. In this video, we're going to go through all the contents of the Fyreslayers Vanguard box set, talk about what all the units can do on the tabletop, and then we'll take a look at some other units we can bring into the force to build upon this initial battle box. Finally, we'll finish off the video with a sample army list for you to use as some inspiration to create your own Fyreslayers army list, or indeed copy ours if that's what you wish to do. And so, with all of that said, let's talk about what comes inside the box set. And the first thing we get is a character model called a Battlesmith. Battlesmiths are pretty standard for Fyreslayer heroes in their stat block: 5 wounds, 4 up save, 4 move, bravery 7. You get the Ancestral Battle Axe, and you get some Fire Steel Throwing Axes for a little bit of shooting damage with 1 attack at 4/4, rend 1, damage 1. And the Ancestral Battle Axe is not too shabby in combat with 4 attacks at 3/3s, rend 1, damage 2. You can probably take on some chaff units. His big thing is his Icon of Grimir, where friendly Fyreslayer units hold within 12 inches of this unit have a 6-up ward, and in addition, once per battle, in your hero phase, you can pick a friendly unit on the battlefield with this ability and plant its Icon of Grimir. If you do so, until the start of the next hero phase, the ward save this model provides becomes a 5+ instead of a 6+. You've also got the Bards of the Lodge ability, where if this unit issues a rally command to a friendly Fyreslayer unit, you can return 1 slain model on a friendly unit to a 4+ instead of a 6. So pretty nice stuff there for the Battlesmith. Now alongside him we get a bunch of Volkite Berserkers, which can come in 2 different varieties. You can either have Volkite Berserkers with Fire Steel Hand Axes or dual wielding weapons, or you can have Fyreslayer Volkite Berserkers with bladed sling shields, having a single hand weapon and a sling shield. On the Sling Shield variation, you're going to have a 4-up save, and they're going to get to choose between Warpick and Hand Axe, like always, which can either be a 3/3 no rend damage 1 on the Hand Axes, or 3/4 rend 1 damage 1 on the Warpick. Berserk Fury is once per battle. At the start of the combat phase, you can say this unit will unleash its Berserk Fury. If you do so until the end of that phase, if a model from this unit is slain, the model can fight before it's removed from play. And the Bladed Sling Shields give you a cool effect where after this unit gets to make a charge move, you can pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of this unit and roll 1 dice for each model in the Fyreslayer unit. For each 6, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. You get a Musician, which can give you +1 to your charge rolls, and your champion will have +1 attack. The Fire Steel Hand Axes, the dual wielding weapon unit, will choose to have only hand axes. You can't have 2 picks, but you do get a 5-up save rather than the 4-up. Berserk Fury is still available, and you get the Whirlwind Destruction rule instead of the Bladed Sling Shields, where you add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the unit's melee weapons if they've made a charge in the same turn, putting them up to 3 attacks at 3/3s, no rend damage 1. Alongside these Volkite Berserkers, you're going to get the choice of building either Auric Hearthguard or Hearthguard Berserkers from the dual box set of 5 models that comes inside the box set. Auric Hearthguard are a ranged unit. They're Magma Pikes, 2 attacks at 18-inch range, 4s, 3s to hit and wound, and then rend 1, damage 1. Molten Rock Bolts is a special rule for the unit, where if the unmodified hit roll for a shooting attack made with a Magma Pike is 6, you subtract 1 from the target's move characteristic until the end of your opponent's next turn. This ability cannot reduce the target's move to below half of its value, but pretty good at providing some nice little shooting and some utility for stopping your opponent being able to move as well. Hearthguard Berserkers are the other unit option. 5-up save, 4 move, 2 wounds apiece, bravery 8. Their big thing is they get the choice between Berserker Broadaxes or Flamestrike Poleaxes. Broadaxes are a 2-inch range and have 2 attacks at 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2, while Flamestrike Poleaxe has 2-inch range, 2 attacks at 3/3s, no rend, damage 1. The big thing here is you got the Smouldering Braziers, where the Fyreslayers Flamestrike Poleaxe, if the hit rolls a 6 with them in combat, the attack causes 2 mortal wounds in addition to any other damage it would cause. On top of this, the unit has a 4-up ward, so long as it's within 9 inch of any Fyreslayer heroes. That is some pretty good stuff to start off with for your Fyreslayer army, but now we're going to take a look at some other units we can bring into our Fyreslayer force to build upon this initial box set. And so, where are we going to look? Well, we're going to take a look at the Magma Drop kits, because I think this is just a great piece to add. It's a big centerpiece, and they can do a ton of damage. First of all, we have 3 different variations you can build from the same single Magma Drop kit. First up, we have the Auric Runefather on Magma. He is the big daddy of the army. 4-up save, 16 wounds, degrading move profile, and he does have some really cool damage potential. 4 attacks with his Latchkey Grand Axe for 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 3, and the Blazing Maw from his Magma as well is going to put out 3 attacks, 4s, 2s, Ren 2 damage D3. Meanwhile, the Claws and Horns put out 6 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2 as well. A ton of damage coming out of this model. The model has a Roaring Firestream, which is a shooting attack. It has its own special attacks and hit rule, and 3+ to wound, Ren 1 damage 1. How the Roaring Firestream works, and this is in general for all Magma, the attack's characteristic is equal to the number of models in the target unit up to a maximum of 10. In addition, at the end of your shooting phase, you can choose to keep this model roaring with the Firestream inside it, and if it does so, it changes its rend to 2 instead. You've got a couple of extra rules on top of this, where Volcanic Blood, every time this model would suffer a wound caused by an attack with a melee weapon on a 4+, the attacking unit suffers a wound back. Its Lashing Tail enables you to do some mortal wounds to your opponent, and you've also got the Lord of the Lodge ability on the Runefather and Magma for 1 per battle. At the start of the combat phase, you can prick a friendly unit on the battlefield to unleash the Wrath of Grimir. If you do so, until the end of the phase, you add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons by friendly Fyreslayer units wholly within 12 inch of this unit. Pretty cool, being able to get some extra attacks, remembering he'll benefit from his own ability as well. We then have the Auric Runesun on Magma, which is pretty much like the secondary combat hero. They've got a couple of different weapon options. You've got like your Worm Slayer Javelin, which is 1 attack, 12-inch range, 4s and 3s, Ren 2 damage D3. And other than that, you can have it in combat for 3 attacks instead on the same profile, or your Ancestral War Axe for 5 attacks at 3 3s, Ren 1 damage 2. Other than that, it's pretty similar to the other Magma drafts. Roaring Firestream, Lashing Tail, and Volcanic Blood all there as well. Vying for Glory is the ability that the Runesuns will get, where if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by this unit targets a monster as a 6, the attack causes a number of mortal wounds equal to the value of the weapon's damage. So this is pretty cool, being able to do a decent amount of mortal wounds out of the model. We then lastly have the Auric Runesmiter, who's probably the more supporty of the units. He's got Roaring Firestream and all of that sort of stuff, Lashing Tail, Volcanic Blood, but he's also got Runic Empowerment, which is a prayer. It has an answer value of 3 and a range of 12. If the chanter is carrying a runic icon or within 18 inch of a chanter that is carrying a forge key, you can get some bonuses from it as well, and you can re-roll the chanting roll from this. If answered, you pick a friendly Fyreslayers unit, wholly within range and visible to the caster, add 1 to the wound rolls for that unit. The last thing I want to talk about out of the units we can bring into the force is the Auric Flamekeeper. This is a brand new unit coming to Fyreslayers. He's got a 4-up save, 5 wounds, bravery 8 and movement 4. His big thing is he's got the Master Flame rune, where when this unit is set up, you place a d6 beside it with a 1 facing up. Each time a friendly Fyreslayer model is slain within 12 inches of you can increase the value of this die beside him by 1. Once per turn, at the start of the combat phase, if the value of the dice beside this unit is a 6, he can draw upon the power and pretty much give out a bonus ability to Auric Hearthguard, Hearthguard Berserkers, or Volkart Berserkers, wholly within 12 inch of him. This can be a thing of getting a War Plus of 6, or he can choose if the model in the unit is slain and that model has not yet fought, they can fight before they're removed from play. Grimir's Resolve, whilst the unit within 12 inch of an enemy unit and not within 3 inch of any enemy units does not run or repeated in the same turn, you can immediately attempt to charge. You also can add 1 to the damage characteristic of weapons as well. A bunch of really cool abilities to add into your Fyreslayer force. He's a nice little piece, especially with the amount of models we're starting with in this army. And so here we have our sample army list for the Fyreslayers. Now we've gone with the Vostarge log in this one. The reason we've gone for this is because it does give a lot of benefit to Volkart Berserkers, of which we've got, 20 in the starter box there. The Vostarg rule that we're going to get is you add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Vostarg Volkart Berserkers units while they've made a charge move in the same turn. This is particularly why I've gone with the bladed sling shields on the units here, because while we would get an extra attack with the other weapon, I think with the bladed sling shields we're going to get the charges in, and then we're going to have better attacks. So we're going to get 1 less attack on our models, but we're going to get the bladed sling shields, and those attacks are going to be better. So we're going to do mortal wounds and probably get around the same amount of damage as we would from the extra attack anyway, thanks to the +1 to hit and wound. We've gone for Hold the Line as our grand strategy because there's a decent amount of meat in our battle line here in 2 units of 10 Volkarts and the Hearthguard Berserkers, which become battle line because the model we've chosen to add to this is going to be the Auric Runefather on Magma. Now, he is going to be our general, and the command trait we've gone for him is we've gone for the Spirit of Grimnir. Now, the Spirit of Grimnir is a cool little command trait. While the general's on the battlefield, when you make an activation roll for the purposes of Urgold runes, you get the enhanced effect on a 5+ rather than a 6+. His artifact that he's chosen to go with is going to be the Axe of Grimnir, where we get to pick one of his melee weapons, obviously his Latchkey Axe, and we add one to its rend and one to its damage, really upping the damage of that. Lastly, we've gone for the mount trait, and there's a couple of decent options, I think, in here for the Magma mount trait. We've gone for some nice offensive stuff with the Axe of Grimnir, so I think something like Cold Heart Ancient balances out well with him, giving him the ability to -1 damage on all melee attacks coming into him. Though something like Flamescale Youngblood does make all his stomps do an extra 3 mortal wounds, is something not too bad to get some mortal wound output on this model. Now we've got our Battlesmith in there as well, and then we've got 2 units of 10 Volkart Berserkers, as mentioned with Bladed Sling Shields. I think the picks are probably my pick here, and then we're going to be able to go and get some bonuses on them thanks to being the Vostarg. We've then got 5 Hearthguard Berserkers with Poleaxes for the mortal wound output, because we just don't have the mortal wound output elsewhere. I think it's important to try and have some in those Hearthguard Berserkers in case we're trying to crack any really hard nuts, things like Stormcast, etc. Lastly, everything is wrapped up inside a single battle regiment, meaning we are a 1-drop army. 990 points mean there's a chance we're going to get a Triumph, and for that Triumph we've gone with Bloodthirsty. Rerollable charges are going to be important. A lot of the abilities of the Volkart Berserkers come off when getting the charges, regardless of which variation you've chosen to go with, and so just a reroll charge. We're already getting +1 to wound from some of the Vostarg if we charge, so it's better to actually get the charge in and then get +1 to hit and wound from that, rather than having to go +1 to wound on, say, something like Inspired. 71 wounds is really good for 1,000 points. As mentioned, a 1-drop army and no reinforcements or allies within the army. A nice, solid Fyreslayers starter force. It's got a couple of good heavy pieces and a lot of meat on the table for your opponent to have to chew through. If you've been playing with Fyreslayers in 3rd edition, let us know how you've been going and what you've been doing and how you would start your Fyreslayer collection with the new Vanguard box set. And so that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below and let us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, we've got a link to our Discord server down in the video's description. And if you'd like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining Patreon or YouTube members, or purchasing something from our Ko-fi web store. All of them are linked in the video's description. Thank you all for everyone who chooses to help support the channel. As a special thank you to those people who have supported via Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give a special shout out to them all. So a shout out to our patrons Christian Weir, James, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Owler and Shop First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Dynat226, Derek, and GRP390. A special thank you to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, Pink Nico Fire, and Robin Mankiller as well. Lastly, a special shout out first of all to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you see, and to Xmorphic, who has done an amazing job at setting up our Discord server for her and making us have a nice place to content and to chat with all of our community. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.